everyone to Witter Rugby Field for today's National Collegiate Championship quarterfinal match between the Arizona Wildcats and your California Golden Bears. Ladies and gentlemen, we please welcome the Arizona Wildcats. Please welcome your California Golden Bears. And now, would all those who are able to do so, please rise for the playing of our national anthem.
It's a beautiful spring day for playoff rugby here in Berkeley, California. Good afternoon and welcome to Witter Rugby Field. I'm Keegan Engelbrecht, bringing you all the action in today's quarterfinal matchup between the California Golden Bears and the University of Arizona Wildcats. Last week, Cal routed number 8 Colorado State 76-7 In the first round of the postseason last weekend here in Strawberry Canyon, the Bears sent out a starting lineup that featured 9 underclassmen and saw 5 more come off the bench in the single elimination playoff contest. Cal and Arizona last met for a regular season contest on February 1st when the Bears shut out the Cats 46-0 in a significant rain and downpour. Arizona is among the final 8 for the first time since 2019 after beating number 4 Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo last Saturday. The Cats put together an 8-6 overall record in the 24-25 season, including wins over number 8 Colorado State, number 6 BYU, and Arizona took close losses to the West Region opponents against St. Mary's and UCLA. Also notably, the Wildcats took close defeats by East Region number 4 Army and fell to number 6 Mount St. Mary's. So everything to play for this afternoon. We'll get underway shortly by the burst of referee Mike Lawrenson's whistle and share some updates from the East Region's results earlier today. Be sure to call out the spoiler alerts for those not yet aware of the action. Cal's fielding a largely experienced side this afternoon, seeing a number of changes in their lineup today from last week's outing versus Colorado State. And we'll run through the lineups in roster here momentarily. But for now, all eyes and focus, attention and excitement remains here in Berkeley as we are underway from the right boot of freshman fly half Saxon Gerstel. Cal now on attack down the right side, and what a start it is for the Bears as Charlie Walsh is brought down right on halfway. Santos out to Fell, to Edstrom. Well tackled on Edstrom by Nick Morgan, the right winger for the Wildcats. Iramea now the big number 8 for the Bears. Nice little show and go from Santos. He keeps the ball alive neatly for Seamus Deely. Here's Walsh now again, the captain of this side with a second touch. Joe Kirsten finding some meters. Tidy hands for the Bears here as Edstrom gets around his opposite number, Brody Johnson. Plenty of phases being strung now for Cal. Deely tries to keep the ball alive, although it looks like it squirted out. Play on, says the referee, as the Bears retain possession. Here's Santos. Fell thought about moving it through his hands, but decided better of it and carry it to ground. And there's the first penalty of the afternoon. A high tackle spotted by the referee, Mike Lawrenson. An experienced size for the Bears, as I mentioned, sees Oliver Kirk, Cade Christ, and Captain Charlie Walsh in the front row. Seamus Deely in the number 4 jersey with Byron Finley, his lock partner. And in the back row, this afternoon, we're seeing Talon Jones, Brian Boyna, and Iramea. A pair of Rudy Schultz nominees for the halfbacks for Cal, Solomon Williams and Rand Santos in the 9 and 10 shirts, respectively, with Mac Fell and Philip Edstrom in the centers, and Mossy Coy, Joe Kirsten, and David Howes lining up at fullback. David Howes saw some time last week against Colorado State in the centers today, plying his trade in the deep 3 in the number 15 jersey, and another penalty spotted by the referee. Solomon Williams wants to go quickly but it looks like Santos is instead going to opt to put the ball even deeper into Wildcat territory. Perhaps an opportunity for California to work their rolling maul. Christ finds his jumper, Finley, and the Bears go to work. 5 meters now are the Bears. Ball at the back with Cade Christ. Well read by the Wildcats. Kirk shunted back. Iramea now. Tackled by Norman. Charlie Walsh wants to keep the ball tight. Kirk now to Boynia. Keeps his legs alive, does Boynia. Working into the center of the pitch. Squirting out quickly with Byron Finley crossing, says the referee. And that's going to be a well-earned penalty for the Wildcats. Knocking on the door was California. Good patience and discipline from Arizona. Masi Coy does a great job to keep the ball in, but it looks like that's going to come back. And we're going to play the line out. It's been a good season so far for the Wildcats, and they've brought an experienced side themselves. Isaac Morrill, Captain Cameron Blair, and Dalton Slaughter in the front row. Aiden Kemp and Jack Breslin in the second row with Troy Norman, Tanner DeMassa, and Jacob Jaffe as the back row trio. Pair of Aussies at halfback, Jacob Hall and Saxon Gerstel, with Brody Johnson and Maddox King in the centers. Jake Schumacher, Nick Morgan, and Mateo Behringer, the vice captain, lining up in the 15 jersey this afternoon. Bit of space spotted by the educated right boot of Mac Fell. Well read by Behringer, dumps it off to Gerstel, who's going to return that kick with interest. And now an attacking lineup for California, dead on halfway. Ball jumped on by Iramea. Here come the Bears in attack. Wildcats again earning themselves another penalty. I think this time holding on. I'm also seeing not entering the ruck from the gate. The signal from referee Lawrenson. Looks like Gerstel's going to struggle to find touch this time. Joe Kirsten wants to go. Well tackled by DeMassa, the open side flanker for the Cats. Another big tackle, that time Isaac Morrill on his opposite number, Oliver Kirk, driving the Bears backwards inside their own 22. Good clearance at the end there by Solomon Williams, the California scrum half. Williams, I mentioned, one of two Rudy Schultz nominees for the Bears this afternoon. Also spent time with the USA U18s and U20s, so plenty of experience on display for the 9 and 10 from Cal. Wildcats now on attack. It looks like the hooker Cameron Blair's got the ball at the back of that maul. The Cats want to release their back line. A skill breakdown in midfield on a big tackle from Mac Fell. And a great bit of space spotted from the left boot of Philip Edstrom. I think he was behind the 50-meter line, and if he was, he is in fact. We see the signal from the AR on this near touchline. It's an excellent 50-22 and great skill execution from the outside center, Philip Edstrom. Edstrom returning to action, having been out with brief injury, and the Bears are happy to have him back in the midfield. California not seeing any purchase from their rolling maul, but a tidy little ball from Solomon Williams to a lurking Mossy Coy. Try time, California. 5 points for the Bears. Nearly 8.5 minutes gone in this first half. That movement looked like one straight off the training pitch. Good interplay between Solomon Williams and Mossy Coy, the blindside flanker. All of that opportunity, of course, on the back of this man here. Outside center, Philip Edstrom is going to do his best to add 2 more and does so. Bringing our score 7 points to nothing in favor of the Bears. Such a heads-up play from Edstrom, spotting that space in behind. For those newer to the game at home, if you successfully kick the ball out of bounds from within your own half and it rolls beyond the opposing team's 22, you retain possession for the line of touch where the ball went out of bounds. And that's a huge kick from Rand Santos, doing a great job to change ends of field, working the Wildcats back into their own end. See Captain Cameron Blair now with the responsibilities of throwing into the line of touch. Brought down by Breslin off the top. Here come the Wildcats and Maddox King, the outside center, into the Bears' defense. Gerstel with the wide ball to, I think, Schumacher on the far side. Tough ball for Aiden Kemp to hold on to. Turnover California, the Bears want to play. Coy unable to bring it down. High tackle spotted by the referee. I think that was on Edstrom. Decision time now for California. This well within the range of Philip Edstrom to pick up 3 points from the penalty. We see Edstrom gesturing towards the uprights. It looks like they're going to jump on the opportunity to add 3 more to the scoreboard. So important in single elimination play is to keep the scoreboard ticking over. And so hard to argue with the decision of Edstrom and his captain, Charlie Walsh. Likes it, Edstrom, when we see the flags go up.
Edstrom.
Well struck from Edstrom, the freshman. Adding 3 more. Our score now 10 points to 0 in favor of the hosts, California. Gerstel this time opting to go long into the waiting arms of Santos. Unable to carve off as many meters as he was last time as Santos. And now a good attacking platform for the Wildcats. Well contended from Finley. I think Finley comes down with it, and the Bears now on attack with the rolling maul. Solomon Williams spotting some space and finding a Joe Kirsten, pinning his ears back as Kirsten down the right-hand side. Try time, Kirsten. Try time, California. What a try for the Bears off of that turnover at the line of touch. All of the vision and expertise from Solomon Williams spotting a gap off that maul. And all of the pace and all of the excitement from Joe Kirsten with plenty of work to do, darting down the far touchline and adding 5 more points for his side. Difficult kick now for Edstrom. This, of course, the more difficult of the 2 angles for a right-footed striker. Unable to pick up 2 more is Edstrom. That's going to leave our score 15 points to nothing in favor of the Bears. California playing host to the Arizona Wildcats in this collegiate playoff quarterfinal. Here with you at Witter Rugby Field in Berkeley, I'm Keegan Engelbrecht. You're watching Playoff Rugby on ESPN+. Well contended, that restart by the freshman Nick Morgan for the Wildcats. The saying, of course, is a kick is only as good as its chase. And it was a good effort from Saxon Gerstle and a great chase from Nick Morgan. Scrum time now, the first of the afternoon, I believe. Good opportunity for both packs to make their physical presence known. Speaking of physicality, here comes the big man, Iramea off the base of that scrum. Space spotted in behind from Santos. Bounces up nicely for Edstrom. As Williams wanted to nudge it in behind, but well read that time, I think, by Jacob Hall for the Wildcats. And another penalty spotted by referee Mike Lawrenson. Clever interplay in the midfield there from Santos and Edstrom. Seems like a bit of a miscommunication at the line of touch. Give it another go. Will Cameron Blair and his Wildcats again unable to find his jumper. Jack Breslin, well read by the Bears. And another infringement spotted close to the contact area. They think that time again not entering straight. And we'll pack down for another scrum dead on halfway. They play an expansive style, do the Wildcats, and speaking with head coach Sean Duffy, the weather today, an opportunity to play and play expansive and express themselves. Unable to do that last time in February when the Wildcats traveled to Berkeley. And that time unable to secure their set piece as California again earns another turnover. Just going back to that point in the conversation with head coach Sean Duffy, they like to play expansive. He encourages his side to back themselves, but with that, needs all of the education and experience of picking the right spots to have a go. with ball in hand. But ball in hand for the Bears now as they're working meter by meter closer to the Wildcats try line. Well tackled by Aiden Kemp. Base for an intentional knock on, and it looks like we are going to see it. That is a yellow card for junior scrum half Jacob Hall. And a penalty try awarded for California. Hall leaving Mike Lawrenson no choice but to award the penalty try. The Bears had numbers and space down that right-hand side. And in an effort to go for the intercept by Jacob Hall, unable to bring it in. And a deliberate knock-on results in a yellow card and penalty try for California. $22 points to nothing in favor of California. We'll take a brief pause as senior lock Jack Breslin receives some medical attention in back play. I hope that he's okay. In the meantime, we see Aston Gradwick Light checking in to the match in the number 20 jersey. And we are back underway. An unfortunate error for the Wildcats. Single elimination rugby. You've got to avoid compounding errors. Unable to do so is Saxon Gerstel. Keep that ball in bounds as the ball sails directly into touch. We'll come back for a center scrum for California. Such an attractive attacking option as a center scrum. The option to run both left and right. We see Howes and Santos lined up directly behind the scrum. And here come the Bears down to the left with Santos out the back. Good hands from Edstrom as Coy's brought down just on the far side of the 22. It's a good poach from the replacement, Aston Gradwick Light. And a big run from Brody Johnson, the inside center for the Wildcats. It's a great effort from the Wildcats, a great way to answer the penalty try and kick straight to touch. No better way to answer a mistake than to earn yourself a turnover. And a penalty for an attacking set piece. Here's Johnson playing in the scrum half position for the Bind Hall. Gerstel with a big cutout ball to Jake Schumacher down the left touchline. Johnson now to Gerstel again. Gerstel. Loose ball from DeMassa. But play on, say, the Wildcats as Aiden Kemp is brought down. Another penalty spotted by referee Mike Lawrenson. This time a conversation needs to be had with Charlie Walsh, the captain for the Bears. Cade Christ, that time the transgressor. It's a great kick for the Wildcats. Their first real attacking opportunity deep in Bear territory. Not had a ton of success at the line of touch, have the Wildcats. So plenty of pressure on Blair. And well done by the Wildcats. Brought down, worked their rolling maul. This is a strength of their game, is the rolling maul from the line out. And you can see why as they earn their way down, not 5 meters out from the California try line and still moving. And it looks like we might see another penalty try, this time in favor of the Wildcats. Yellow card issued to Byron Finley for his work at that rolling maul, doing his best to disrupt the meters being gained from the Wildcats. It's an excellent answer for Arizona as they work to get their way back into this match. I think it was Troy Norman who ultimately crossed over for the Wildcats, but a penalty try awarded nonetheless. Well tackled and well chased by Masi Coy from the Macfell restart. That time, Brian Boynia not supporting his own weight at that ruck. Both sides this afternoon struggling to stay on the right side of the referee, it seems. So critical in playoff rugby to take advantage when available. And here come the Wildcats by way of Nick Morgan, inserting into the line off of his right wing. And Gerstle wants to put that ball in behind. Gerstle looking a little bit like he might have preferred to carve off some additional meters from that kick. But it'll work out nonetheless. That time brought down by Seamus Deely for the Bears. Advantage being played. Irameo with another carry. Santos with 2 steps off his left boot, looking for some support inside. Santos pinning his ears back. The big hit by Aiden Kemp. Big ball from Fell to Howes. Coy with some space down the left side. If he can get around his man. It's a great tackle from Nick Morgan on Masi Coy. Try saving almost. Talon Jones now with the carry. Keeps the ball alive. Does Edstrom. Popping up very well for Masi Coy. And that's 5 points for the Bears. Off the back of a piercing run and 2 tidy left steps from fly half Rand Santos. Little under a quarter hour remains in the first half. And a great strike from Philip Edstrom is going to bring our score 29 points to 7 in favor of the Bears. Two in a row now for freshman Saxon Gerstle, again unable to keep that ball in bounds. Will bring us back for a scrum center. Looked like for a while that the Wildcats were able to string together a bit of momentum off the back of that penalty try. But again, potentially compounding errors, and we'll see what California can do. It looks like the scrum half, Jacob Hall, has returned from his 10 minutes in the sin bin. Again, we're seeing Santos and Howes lined up directly behind the scrum, just out of frame. Cal again wants to go left. Here's Edstrom. Tackled by Johnson. Boyna now. Keeping his legs alive is Boyna. Unclear how that wasn't called offsides. On Troy Norman is working his way back. But play on, says the referee. And the big left fend from Iramea. Iramea fell to Christ. Williams again spotting some space around the ruck. Dumping it off to Jones. Fell. Perhaps a little too much at the end of the run there for Mac Fell. Trying to keep the ball alive for Coy. And we'll come back to the line out. Excuse me, knock on. Well defended from the Wildcats, working their way back. But plenty of work to do for Arizona to get out of their own end and try and play the attacking rugby for which they're known. The big carry from the winger, Nick Morgan, gets around a thumping attempted tackle from Boyna. Space and numbers down this open side for the Cats if they can use it. Hall to Gerstle. Picked off by Joe Kirsten. Well read by Kirsten. Nothing in front of him except green turf and the whitewash of the try line.
Kirsten, California.
Kirsten picking up his second try of the afternoon. With a little under 10 minutes left in this second half, it's 34 points to 7. You can see the intent from the Wildcats. They want to play. They've got the skills to be able to do it. Just struggling to connect in those final few moments. And the Bears jumping all over those opportunities to turn those mistakes into points. Looks like Byron Finley's going to return to action from his time in the sin bin, and Gerstle wants to, this time opting kick to the left side of the pitch. Santos again with a step off his left foot, leaving it up nicely for Christ. Howes inserting from the fullback position, brought down by Gradwick Light. But another penalty spotted by referee Lawrenson. Bit of frustration there from Rand Santos, not striking the ball as cleanly as he would have liked. Finley, Williams, Santos, Boyna. Back to Santos, this time to Edstrom. Kirsten, the try scorer, keeps the ball alive. Do the Bears. Not an inch of space left to use on that far touchline. Good bit of space from Macfell. Support here now to Coy. Plenty of work left for Coy, pinning his ears back down this left touchline. And an excellent try-saving tackle from a pursuing Saxon Gerstel. What an effort by the freshman to keep Coy out of the try zone. Cats not out of the woods yet. Been hot and cold with their success at the line of touch. Again, unable to find his jumper is Cameron Blair, and the Bears again knocking on the door. Iramea brought down about a meter or two short of the try line. Boyna now taking a turn. Williams to Fell. It's a big man as Fell. Staunch defense from the Wildcats. This time keeping Kirk at bay. And the Cats earning themselves a turnover to knock on at the base of that ruck. And the Arizona fan base can breathe a sigh of relief. Plenty of pressure on the Wildcat forward pack. Big push from the Bears. And no matter for the Cats as they're going to exit their territory. It's a good kick from Jacob Hall. Relieve a bit of pressure. Cade Chris now tasked with the duties of throwing into the lineout. He as well spent time with the USA U18s and U20s. Williams a wide ball to Santos. Miscommunication, plenty of movement there from Santos's back line. Bears looked like they had the corner, but unable to bring that in. It's a skill breakdown and a turnover for California. Discussion to be had here, it looks like, with Troy Norman, the blindside flanker for the Wildcats, and Captain Cameron Blair. Line out one by Kemp and jumped on by Blair. Here's the big man, Dalton Slaughter. with perhaps the best name in collegiate rugby. Good tackle by Santos on Maddox King. Charged down by Fell. Play on. And gobbled up by Iramea. Loose ball at the breakdown. And good hands from Dealey. Space spotted by Kirsten. And the far side AR is on the job. A very clever kick by Joe Kirsten. Wildcats struggling to exit their own end. In their defense, it's a steady breeze coming off the mighty Pacific to our west, directly into the faces of the Wildcats, holding up all of the clearance kicks from Hall and Gerstle. Looks like we'll see another kick now for the Cats. Doing everything they can to get out of their own end. Possession, it seems, thus far has been pretty evenly matched. Territory, however, has been all California, with much of the match being played in the attacking half. Here comes Iramea. It's a big tackle needing to be had on Iramea. Good hands from Fell, brought down 2 meters out. Space and numbers for the Bears out left if they can use it. Quick hands from Christ into Walsh. Santos to Edstrom. And that's Cal again making the most of their opportunities in the attacking end of the field, turning possession and territory into points. About 60 seconds remain in the first half. 41 points to 7. And a tester of a kick for freshman outside center Philip Edstrom, likely the final act of first half action here at Witter Rugby Field in Berkeley. I mentioned the breeze blowing from right to left. We'll see how Edstrom uses the wind to his favor to draw the ball through the uprights. Unable to work his draw is Philip Edstrom on this Masters weekend. There's the halftime whistle from referee Mike Lawrenson. It's 41 points to 7 in favor of California. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with second half action here at Witter Rugby Field in Berkeley.
Biller for Macfell.
Welcome back, rugby fans. It is a perfect day for rugby at the University of California, with second half action set to kick off at Witter Rugby Field. The Bears playing host to the Arizona Wildcats. Plenty of try scoring in the first half, 41 points to 7, and we are underway as Oliver Kirk jumps on a loose ball from the restart. Christ carrying off the base of that ruck. Dealey now. Santos. The high ball, putting the deep three under a tremendous amount of pressure for the Wildcats. Jumped on quickly by David Howes. Howes brought down just shy of the try line. Looks like Charlie Walsh is going to get over. He is. Try time, California. What a way to start the second half.
California.
Interesting change of tactic for the Bears there. Santos opting for the high ball to put Behringer and Jake Schumacher under a tremendous amount of pressure. And it looks like that high ball from Santos is going to be his last act of the afternoon. He's going to make way for a replacement. And another difficult kick for Edstrom, this time into the wind. It stays across the face of the uprights. Brings our score 46 points to 7. Only 2 minutes into the second half. Saw a change at halftime, with starting inside center Macfell making way for freshman Chris Biller at inside center.
For Rand Santos. Also coming to the match is Cormac Saint for Solomon Williams.
More changes for the Bears. Cormac Saint checking in for Solomon Williams at scrum half. And Jack Bizio, the replacement for Rand Santos. Bizio a winger, so we'll see some shuffle in the California backline. Potentially Mossy Coy, another freshman slotting into the fly half position for California. Means we have an all freshman midfield with Coy, Biller, and Edstrom. Time to answer for the Wildcats. Here's Schumacher off his wing. Hall to Slaughter. DeMassa unable to hold on to the ball. And turnover California. Saint to Coy. Unable to bring it in as Walsh falls into the hands of Gerstle. King. Schumacher doing a good job to stay in bounds. Skradwick Light. Onto the field early for an injured Breslin early in the first half. Nice wide ball from Gerstle. Into Kemp. Plenty of work being done at the ruck for the Wildcats, needing to devote a number of resources to retain that possession. Another change in tactic from the Wildcats we're seeing now. Plenty of pick and goes. Gerstel now getting around Christ. And a great bit of space from the fly half, Saxon Gerstel. And exactly what the Wildcats needed to try and get back into this match. I mentioned the change in tactic. The first half, we saw a lot of wide ball from the Wildcats. And it seems the new plan is, in fact, paying dividends, opting to keep the ball tight, close to the source of possession, drawing in a number of California defenders and opening up space on that open side for Gerstel to be able to get around, I think it was Christ, and pick up 5 points for his side. It's a good strike from Mateo Berenger, the vice captain. The Frenchman for the Wildcats, Berenger, having spent time with the Eagle Impact Rugby Academy. Tacking on 2 more points, 46-14 in favor of Cal. Gerstel, the try scorer, unable to hold on to that restart. Plenty of pace and chase on offer from Byron Finley, putting a ton of pressure on Gerstel there. Resulting in a knock-on and scrum time for California just outside the 22. Big blind side available for Cal on the left side. They brought Bizio to the open side here to play with Coy, who gets around his man. Coy with 2 hot steps, keeping the ball alive for the replacement inside center, Chris Biller.
California.
Chris Biller, the freshman, picking up yet another try. Picked up at least a pair last week against Colorado State. Coming on at halftime and making his presence known. 5 points from Biller, 2 points from Edstrom. Brings our score 53-14. This, of course, one of 4 quarterfinals this weekend for men's D1A collegiate rugby. Spoiler alert, inbound. Earlier today, we saw Life beat Army and Lindenwood get the better of Navy in the East region. Looks like a crossing penalty spotted by referee Mike Lawrenson on that restart. And another good attacking opportunity for the Wildcats.
Coming to the match for the Golden Bears, number 16, Brock Daly, for Cade Chris. Also coming to the match, number 17, Alex Vieira, for number 1, Oliver Kirk.
It's a good attacking opportunity for the Wildcats. They're going to want to capitalize on this. Unable to find his jumper is Blair. Struggled at the line of touch. Have the Wildcats for most of the afternoon. And Bears getting out of jail with Finley stealing that line out. Has been a menace at the line of touch as Finley for most of the afternoon. A few more changes for California now. Alex Vieira and Brock Daly checking in for Oliver Kirk and Cade Christ. Tough early throw for the replacement hooker, Brock Daly. Looking for Boynia jumping at the back pod of the line out. Not straight, says the referee. And turnover for the Wildcats, attacking scrum, Arizona. Big push for the Bears, illegally so, says the referee. Boring in, I think, is the call on Alex Vieira. The great kick from Gerstel right on the 5-meter line. And if the Wildcats can nail this line out, it's an excellent opportunity for them to deploy their driving maul. Pins his jumper, does Blair. And brought down about 3 meters shy of the try line. Here's Maddox King. Hall. Gradwich Light. Blair. Well tackled by the Bears on Blair. DeMassa. Outlet ball to Gerstel. To King. Gradwich Light again. Flat ball from Gerstel. Referee playing advantage. Likely not rolling away for California. Here's DeMassa. Behringer. Slaughter. No advantage gain, says the referee. Will come back to the infringement a few phases prior. And decision time for the Wildcats. Might they go for the line out? The other option, of course, at this stage in the game would be a scrum. I think being behind by so many points, a shot at goal would not be the most efficient use of the opportunity. And so line out it is. Brought down by Kemp. Working the short side into Blair. 3 meters out now are the Wildcats. Blair again. Tanner DeMassa. Brought down a meter shy. Advantage again being played. No advantage needed. It's try time for Arizona on the back of the replacement second rower, Aston Gradwich Light, in the number 20 jersey. There's the excitement, there's the determination that Wildcat fans want to see from their side as they work hard to get back into this match. An uncharacteristic error from Mateo Behringer. Watched him in warm-ups. Who's striking the ball beautifully, unable to convert on that occasion. Brings our score 53 points to 19 in favor of the Golden Bears with about a quarter hour gone in the second half. Deep kick from Edstrom. Jacob Hall wants to clear his lines and continue to play the territory game. It's a good tactic with the breeze at their backs now in this second half for the Wildcats. Seeing more changes for the Arizona side. I'll get you some names and numbers shortly. First of which would be Seamus McCarthy in the 17 shirt in the front of that lineout. Dealey finding his man. Boyna keeping his legs alive. Always seems to take more than one man to bring down Boyna. Show and go from Edstrom. Here's Kirsten now, the try scorer. Trying to put some more pressure on a pursuing Wildcat defense is Joe Kirsten by opting to use his right boot, but charged down well. And the ball's going to trundle into touch. Well read by the Wildcats. And they want to play. King's going to get a second bite, not held, says the referee. And another penalty by the Bears. Seeing some ill discipline creep into the California side. At this point in the match, a number of penalties being spotted by referee Mike Lawrenson. And the Wildcats again finding themselves in the attacking half of the field. Good throw from Blair to Jaffe. Sharp hands from the Wildcats as Behringer's going to carry in. It's Nick Morgan. Wide ball from Gerstel. Wider still from DeMassa. Kemp now down the right side to his captain Blair. Getting around Dealey, trying to keep the ball alive. I think the Bears jumped on it. They did. As Talon Jones is going to try and get in field and set a platform for California. Unable to do so, and another penalty by California. Penalties abound by the Bears. It looks like referee Mike Lawrenson's going to have a word with Charlie Walsh for repeated infringements. Especially in this area of the pitch, the consequence gets far greater. As Walsh asks for a minute to circle up with his side and communicate Lawrenson's feedback to his team. If you're head coach Sean Duffy, this is exactly the kind of start to a second half you want to see from your side, especially the scoreboard being what it is. Brought down by Jaffe. Here come the Wildcats again with their rolling maul. So dangerous is a rolling maul for the Wildcats. So productive as well.
Arizona.
With Cameron Blair picking up another try for his team as the Wildcats seem to claw their way back into this game. The first half we saw California capitalizing on a number of Arizona mistakes. And now in this second half, the Wildcats returning the favor as penalty after penalty being spotted by the referee And the Wildcats doing what every good side does, is turning those penalties into points. As Behringer again unable to pick up an additional 2 points. 53 points to 24 now in favor of California as we enter into the final quarter of the game. It's California versus the Arizona Wildcats in this quarterfinal match. I'm Keegan Engelbrecht, bringing you all the action on ESPN+. Gerstel spots some space, keeps the ball alive, this time to Henry Landrish. Numbers in space down the left-hand side for the Cats if they want to use it. Double clutch from Gradwich Light. And again, another penalty on California. Another great kick from Gerstel. We saw the rolling maul being so productive for the Wildcats. My bet is we'll see it again here. Here's King. King brought down by Talon Jones. DeMassa brought down by Finley. Here's Liam Swanson, a replacement in the 18 jersey. Gradwich Light out the back to Gerstel. Cut out ball to Gerstel. Picked again by Kirsten. All the pace from Kirsten. Plenty of work to do to get past Behringer, and does so. What a turn of events for the Bears. Joe Kirsten picking up his third try of the afternoon, his second from a pick. Wildcats were knocking on the door, and if you're a Cal fan, that's the exact answer you want to see from the Bears. As Edstrom adds the extras. 17 minutes remain in this second half. And the scoreboard reads 60 points to California, 24 to Arizona.
For Charlie Walsh.
Charlie Walsh, the captain, making way for J.P. Vinter in the front row. Bit of miscommunication on the restart, but gobbled up by Mossy Coy. And another penalty and mistake from the Bears. Deep in their own end. See Gerstel on the ball. He'll likely put the ball on his educated right boot, carving every available meter on offer. Short line out this time for the Wildcats with the balance of their forward pack lined up in midfield. In the midfield, excuse me. Well read by Vinter, but gobbled up by Blair. Here's Kemp. Good hands from Kemp, picking up a ball off of his shoelaces. Here's McCarthy. There's the double burst of the whistle that I think the Bears were working to avoid for much of this second half. Repeated infringements, multiple warnings having been issued. Discipline so critical at this area of the field. A headsy play from Gerstle with a foot pass out to Nick Morgan. Putting his head down and running into a staunch California defense. Gerstle hoping to catch the Bears on the back foot. And it looks like they've turned it over, have California. You can't blame Gerstle. The space was there. As Edstrom's going to try and clear his lines, unable to find touches. Edstrom. Here comes Behringer. Wide ball to Gerstle. Well tackled by Edstrom. Here's Lucas Smith, the replacement scrum half. Behringer now. Space spotted in behind from Gerstle. Coy in pursuit. Unable to dot it down is Coy. Coy's begging otherwise. And that's a try for the Wildcats.
Try, Arizona.
What a string of play we've just witnessed. A heads-up play from Gerstle trying to catch the Bears off guard. Bears able to successfully turn it over on their try line. Unable to find touch and exit. Some quick hands and some heads-up play by the fly half, spotting some space in behind California as Mossy Coy is unable to dot it down. Ultimately, Cameron Blair staying on the job and on the boil. That's 5 more points for the Wildcats. Behringer makes no mistake this time.
Conversion, Arizona.
As the Wildcats continue to work to stay in this match. 60 points to 31 now. And about 13 minutes left in the contest. Edstrom going deep to Morgan. Danger man is Morgan with ball in hand.
Coming to the match for the Golden Bears is Tulai Tuimane for Brian Boyne.
Wildcats want to play out of their own end. Well defended from Kirsten. As Antonio Gonzalez is unable to get around his man. More changes for California. Tulay Tuimane checking in for the open side flanger, Brian Boyne. Joe Kirsten slow to get up. From that tackle. What a second half it has been. California with all the run of play, all the possession, and all the points for the overwhelming majority of the first half. I don't know what head coach Sean Duffy said to his men at halftime, but it seems to be working. Good to see Joe Kirsten up. Line out now for replacement hooker Brock Daly in front of the California reserve bench. Well brought in by Finley. Mossy Coy with the double clutch show and go. He's a danger man with ball in hand as Coy gets around a number of Wildcats defenders. And what a way to answer back from a mistake in his own try zone. Mossy Coy picking up 5 points and a try for his side. Back and forth stuff this afternoon in Strawberry Canyon. Another tester of a kick into a steady breeze for Edstrom. And at this point in a match like this, you can't help but think, but every point matters. The grandstand likes it, as do the ARs. We see the flags go up. It's a good kick from Edstrom. 2 more points, 67-31 in favor of the Bears. But the story of the second half has been the way in which the Wildcats have been able to put pressure on California and capitalize on a number of mistakes. With about 10 minutes left, work still to be done for Arizona. Coy to Biller. Edstrom. Howes inserts. High tackle. Spotted by Morgan on Howes. Plenty of results, as I mentioned, in from the east side of the bracket. California versus Arizona and St. Mary's versus Central Washington in the west bracket. Kirsten again picking up a loose ball. Here's Talmani. Saint to Finley. Finley gets around DeMassa as he works to center the ball. And that's a try for California. And with about 9 minutes left in the second half, you got to think that'll do it. This match firmly in hand for the Bears. What a quarterfinal we've been treated to so far this afternoon. Plenty of high-quality rugby on display. As is always the case, it seems, especially in recent years, far more parity in the collegiate game now with the emergence of a number of sides, Arizona being one of those. Army, Navy, Life, Lindenwood, all finding their way into quarterfinal matches on the eastern side of the bracket. Gerstel's restart into the waiting hands of Coy. Squirts off the right side of his boot for Coy. Not getting quite as much purchase as he would have liked on that clearance kick. And yet another line out for Cameron Blair. I hate to jinx him, but it seems that they fixed the line out woes that they struggled with in the first half. And there it is. Apologies, Blair. Wide ball from Saint to Coy. Low ball to Biller. Good hands from Biller. Here's Howes to Bizio. Might be one of his first touches for the replacement winger, Jack Bizio. Had a good match last weekend against Colorado State. Tomani now getting some yards. Coy. Skill breakdown for the Bears, but held on well by Seamus Deely. Another carry from Talon Jones. Iramea. Kirsten unable to hold on to a short ball from Coy. Strips it out of the tackle as Kirsten, but we'll come back to that knock on. Full replacement at front row for California and 2/3 for the Wildcats. We'll see a change for the Wildcats with number 19, Sean McNulty, checking in for Tanner DeMassa. Good game for DeMassa, the open side. As Cal again deemed not pushing straight. An attacking opportunity for the Wildcats inside the Cal 22. The lineout has not necessarily been their friend this afternoon, but it has led to some tries as Blair pings his jumper that time. Smith to Gerstel. What a line from number 23, Antonio Gonzalez, slicing right through the California midfield. And again, the Wildcats making the most of the ill discipline that seems to have crept in to the California side in this second half. But what a line and what an insertion from Antonio Gonzalez in the 23 jersey. Slicing right through the California defensive line.
Conversions, Arizona.
38 points now for Arizona. The overwhelming majority of those points coming in the second half. A high-scoring affair here at Witter Rugby Field this afternoon. About 3.5 minutes remain in the second half of this quarterfinal. Gerstel to Gradwick Light. Gets a lot of touches. Does the replacement back rower. Gerstel this time unable to hold on to the ball. Not his best pass from Lucas Smith. We're going to see a threatening attacking scrum for California. About 15 meters out of the try line. Options left and right for the Bears. We see Kirsten lining up out of frame on this far right touch line when the balance of the back line shaping out to the left. What a treat on display this afternoon for the fans here in Strawberry Canyon. Plenty of activity on the California campus this afternoon. The spring showcase for the football team just below Witter Rugby Field, and women's softball being played just above. Some miscommunication in the Back line there for the Bears, and a bit of indecision from Coy. Bizio doing his best to get up and over Nick Morgan on that far touchline. As the referee, Mike Lawrence, is going to confer with his far side AR. It looked like a crossing penalty. And that is, in fact, the judgment from referee Lawrenson. Only a minute left. This game firmly in hand by the Bears. The Bears will advance to the semifinal next weekend here at Witter Rugby Field, playing the winner of St. Mary's and Central Washington, being played across town in Moraga, not far from Berkeley. Oh, a nice ball from Gerstel, this time to Morgan. In support is PJ Enengren. Here's Johnson now. Foot race with Kirsten and Johnson. And Johnston's going to pick up a try. And what a try it was. End-to-end stuff for the Wildcats. That likely the final act of this quarterfinal. Credit to Arizona staying in this match. Pretty clinical stuff from California in the first half as ill discipline crept into the team, and Arizona doing a great job of capitalizing on all of those opportunities available to them, picking up a number of points in this second half. With the final act of the season for Mateo Berenger, a difficult conversion. It looks pretty good, and it is. Picking up 2 more points for Mateo Berenger and the Arizona Wildcats. There's the final whistle from referee Mike Lawrenson. I mentioned with today's win, Cal's going to advance to the semifinal next week here in Berkeley, where they'll face the winner of St. Mary's and Central Washington. And as I said, on the other side of the bracket, life got the better of Army when Lindenwood beat a tough Navy side. To watch this entire match on replay, as well as all of your ESPN Plus events, download the ESPN app. That's it from us here at Witter Rugby Field. On behalf of the entire crew, I'm Keegan Engelbrecht saying so long from Berkeley. Once again, our final score, 74-45, California over Arizona. We'll see y'all soon.